Hello, Speedway. My name is Carlos May, and the Town Council recently hired me to be the new town manager. So I just wanted to sit down and introduce myself, let you know who I am. First thing you should know is that my door is always open. So if there's something that the community needs or you need to get a hold of me for whatever reason, please feel free to call. We will put all the contact information on the screen later on. Other than that, I'm just going to sit down and have a few questions asked of me so that I can answer so that you can get to know me a little bit better. And I hope through the next couple months and years, I get to know not only the town better, but hopefully each and every one of you better. So with that, let's get to the questions. So first is, I'm a fifth generation Hoosier. So the May family has been in Indianapolis for a long, long time. I grew up all over the world. My dad was in the Army at the time that I was born and growing up. But when he retired from the military, we moved back to Indianapolis. I then did most of my elementary school here, all of my middle school, most of my high school and college up in Crawfordsville, Indiana. In terms of work and experience in the Indianapolis community, and more specifically in Speedway, I worked for Mayor Ballard for approximately 7 to 8 years when he was mayor of Indianapolis. And my first job for Mayor Ballard was as the mayor's neighborhood liaison. And one of the areas that was my responsibility was Wayne Township, which of course includes the town of Speedway. So I got to know Speedway very, very well back starting in 2008. Now that's just from a work perspective. From a personal perspective, ever since we moved back to Indianapolis, I've been coming to the Indianapolis 500 races. Carb Day is a particular pleasure that I enjoy doing every year. But I do have a tie-in and a history with Speedway that I hope to further deepen and expand as I work for the town. It was being able to come back to public service and make an impact on the community, but in a slightly different way. Working for Mayor Ballard, being in charge of different offices of his, I knew that I was making an impact in the city and the community, but it was more from like a top-down view. So I would help certain communities, and I know that I helped them. I see Speedway as slightly different because it's not a large city, it's a local small town. I will be able to see the impact of whatever I do in a much more personal and concrete way. So it's not just to say, oh, I've helped this group over here. I can say I helped Mr. and Mrs. Smith with this issue over here. I helped a new business on Main Street here. And so to see that personal connection was very, very intriguing to me and very, very exciting. So when I was offered the position, I definitely smiled because I knew I was back to what I should be doing. Well, that's a toughie. There's been so much thrown at me, even though it is day two, that I always like to take a step back and see what are the issues or projects that are happening that need immediate attention, and of course, want to dive deep into that. But generally speaking, I'm very excited about the new town hall project so that we can move all of the town offices and departments into one location, make it a much easier experience for the citizen to come in and get whatever city town services they might need done. But also really looking forward to the upcoming races. To get involved in the nitty-gritty of a large event like this is something that I did multiple times with Mayor Ballard in the city of Indianapolis, and so I'm really excited to get back to doing those types of projects here in the town. And very generally and basically, I'm excited about helping the town further itself, become the best version of itself as possible, and in any way that I can help achieve that, I'm in it. I am a firm believer in communication, and more specifically direct communication. I find that when there is miscommunication is when that leads to problems, either misunderstandings or concerns that shouldn't be there. So part of what I pledge to do is once a quarter hold a public forum where myself and senior staff get together in the evening so that everybody has an opportunity to attend should they choose, to just literally come up to us and ask us direct questions. You won't have to get filtered through 5 or 6 different layers of bureaucracy. You will be able to get us directly, and if we don't have the answer for you right then and there, we will definitely be able to research it and get it back out to you. Now, obviously with COVID concerns, we will not be implementing that anytime soon until the situation as deemed by the governor, as well as the mayor and scientists dictate that yes, now is appropriate time to open back up and have these larger group meetings. So as far as my educational and work background, I'll start you off. As I said earlier, I was a military brat, Army specifically. So I grew up in Europe, Africa, Asia, until I was approximately 11 years old, and then we moved back to Indianapolis. I started off in Lawrence Township School System, and then my folks moved up to Zionsville due to my dad's job at Subaru Isuzu, which is now just Subaru of America. So I did most of my middle school, all of my middle school here, most of my high school. 1 year I studied in Mexico and 1 year I studied in Japan. I graduated from Zionsville High School and then I went to Wabash College up in Crawfordsville, Indiana. I was there for 4 years. I graduated with a degree in political science and minors in biology and religion. And then from there I directly went to law school. I was in law school from 2001 until 2003. And here I chose strictly on location. I chose to go to San Diego. My dad said it was beautiful, and it was. I graduated law school in 2003. I worked out there for a little over a year, and then I decided it was time to come back home to Indiana. So I packed up and drove back across the country and landed here in Indianapolis. It was very exciting to be back home, but at that time I was 24 years old. I had no real concept of where I should go next. My original career intent was college, law school, U.S. military, and then U.S. Foreign Service, and be a diplomat and represent my country abroad. Of course, life will throw curveballs at you, and it was at that point in time I decided, let me take a year off and figure out exactly how to approach the next stage, and well, not even the next stage, really the first stage in my career. It was at that point in time, after a year of travel and introspection, I guess, or thinking about what it is that I should be doing, is when I got a call to help out on some elections in Indianapolis. And I said, certainly, I'm here to help. And that's when I started working on candidate Ballard's campaign. Worked with him and two other individuals, and the mayor was elected. So it was now Mayor-elect Ballard. And I believe he gave me approximately a week off, and then it was time to come to work. So I chose to not forego necessarily, but at least postpone the military and foreign service aspects of what I wanted to do. And I ended up working for Mayor Ballard, as I stated, approximately 7 to 8 years. I held different positions with the mayor. First position was mayor's neighborhood liaison, and I represented Wayne and Decatur townships. And it was literally anything and everything that related to the citizen and city services. So one day it could have been helping a new business association get started. Another day it could have just been simply, hey, someone stole my trash can and I need a new one. But it gave me a very good working knowledge of the structure of government and how it is that we can help make government more efficient for the constituent to get services that they might need from the government. I then resigned because I figured now it's time for me to get back onto my proper career trajectory that I had once planned for. And I think this time I was off for 3 months, and then the mayor contacted me and asked me to come back and serve on his cabinet as Director of Latino Affairs, to help with the entire Spanish-speaking population in Indianapolis. At that time, it was really burgeoning. That was the first time that the mayor's office of Indianapolis had a specific cabinet-level official to help a specific community. In the past, there was advisors to help with these communities, but nothing official. I did that for approximately 2.5 years, and then I resigned for a second time. And this time it was because I had won the Republican primary nomination for U.S. House of Representatives in the 7th District. And I was, I believe, 32 at the time, 31, 32. And I didn't want folks to think that this was some sort of theoretical exercise for me, or that I was just, trying to do this to be somebody. I really wanted to show the population that I was serious about this, that this was something that I wanted to work for and work hard. I couldn't very well ask a volunteer, to give me time if I wasn't prepared to dedicate my own time to it. And so with the mayor's blessing, I resigned and I campaigned full time. Unfortunately, I lost the general election. And after 5 months or so of literally 6-7 days a week working, I decided to take 30 days off and have a couple beers and watch some TV and just relax. So I did that, and then I worked for Indy 11. I got a call from the then team president, Peter Wilt, and the team owner, Ursal Ozdemir. And I went to work for them as Director of International Markets. In essence, player relationships for those that were international players to come in to help them get settled, as well as all the international communities in and around central Indiana, because soccer is huge internationally, and I apparently had the experience that they were looking for. So I was there for a very short time, and then the mayor called me back to service. And this time it was as the mayor's senior executive policy advisor, I believe was the specific title. It was just a nice fancy title because I ran 4 mayor's offices, and I don't think he wanted to have to say director of this and director of that and director of the other, 4 different times. But in essence, I ran the mayor's office of neighborhood services, which the mayor's neighborhood liaisons are the employees of that office. I ran the mayor's office of Latino affairs, the mayor's office of veteran affairs, and the mayor's office of special projects. And the last one was really more of a nebulous. It was the mayor thinking, hey, I've got this great idea, Carlos, now go execute it. But we had a few really special projects that came out of that office. One of that I'm really proud of was the World Cup viewing party in 2014 when the Men's World Cup was really advancing. I was working with Indy 11 and the mayor had said, you guys are doing well, but we should really do something. The U.S. is advancing. And it got to the point where working with Indy 11 and Tom Dunmore, myself and really all the staff that I could get from the various city departments, we shut down Massachusetts Avenue and just had this massive block party. The businesses made out like gangbusters. At first they were a little bit worried, and that was my fault. I didn't communicate as properly as I should have in terms of the scope of what we wanted to do. Once they realized what the situation was, everyone had a blast. Everyone had such a good time that when the Women's World Cup happened the very next year, the mayor said, we need to do this again, so get to work. Those are just 2 particular events that I was really pleased at because we got everyone that was interested in that to come to have basically just one large block party. Everyone had a blast. It was safe. The streets were cleaned up immediately afterwards. I got to wear my red, white, and blue seersucker, so that was a particularly nice point for me. But it was just those type of projects that really enabled me to learn more and understand more about the various communities within Indianapolis, the various demographics, and really get my feet on the ground and boots on the pavement to learn as much as I could. After that, Mayor Ballard decided not to run for re-election, and my child had just been born 3 months earlier. And at that point in time, I had a few job offers, but it was one of those that I just couldn't bear the thought of someone else raising my child and me just not being around. So I decided to do more of an independent consulting on one end, but also business development for various companies on the other. It enabled me to basically dictate how often I wanted to work so that I could maximize my time with my child and help raise them as well as I possibly could. They're going to be 5 here in a few weeks. So this is when I knew it's time to get back into the thick of things and get back to work. And luckily, this opportunity popped up, and I was fortunate enough to be selected for the position. Well, I definitely want to be as in the community as I possibly can. Barring some emergency with my child, I plan to focus my days less in the office and more out in the community. So I definitely want to meet with all the business owners as quickly as possible to get their information, their feedback, what it is that they see as beneficial or detrimental for their businesses currently. In addition to that, as I mentioned, the town hall nights out, and we'll come up with a snappy name for that. But in essence, I want that immediate feedback from the constituent citizen to the town leadership. So I really want this to be a collaborative effort. The one thing I know for a fact is that I do not know everything. When it comes to wanting to learn something about a location, specifically here, Speedway, the best way I see to do that is to interact with the community, with the people who live here, work here, who own businesses here. They're the ones that have that day in, day out working knowledge of what's going on that I might not if I'm stuck in the office all day. So while certainly there will be office time where I need to answer phone calls or emails or whatnot, I do plan to be one of the most accessible and open town managers, hopefully ever, in that way I can do my job even better for the town. So if you have concepts, ideas, thoughts of what projects you would like to see done, certainly let me know. In terms of general scope of projects, certainly economic development. The more that we can attract and retain not only talent, but money, the better we can then grow as a town. The more we can invest back into the town and make the community more open, safer. I would love to do something with the trail. We could really do something special with that. I don't know what yet, but if any of you have any ideas or concepts, please shoot me an email and let me know. And other than that, really just try to do as best as I possibly can for the town, try to help guide the town along with department heads and the town councilors, help guide this in the right direction. Obviously, the elephant in the room is the Speedway. Luckily, I already have pre-existing relationships with some of the leadership there. I just want to strengthen and further deepen those ties so that if I know something is going to be happening there, I can let the town know. If I plan to do something for the town, I can obviously have Speedway involved and let them know. So I want this to be as open as possible in terms of communication and efficiencies. And since they're kind of the big boy on the block, I want to make sure that we get off on the right foot and maintain the special relationship that the Speedway has had with the town of Speedway since we were both founded, in essence. I suppose in closing, the first thing you should know is that as of the time I'm filming this, I do not yet have a phone, so you can't reach out via phone to contact me. However, I do have an email address. It's cmay@speedwayin.gov. So if you'd like to reach out with any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to do that. My laptop will arrive the day after this filming ends, so please give it a few days before you start emailing me, so at least I've got a computer with which I can answer. But aside from that, I just want to say how very pleased I am to be able to be here, how happy I am that the council selected me to help guide the town in the solid direction that we've been moving and hopefully further making this the town that we could strive to be and that we want to be. Aside from that, I hope to see each and every one of you out and about, especially when we start instituting the town halls. I'd love for the community to be engaged. I plan to be at most every public event that Speedway has. So if you see me out there, please stop me, say hello, let me have it if there's something bad that you got to tell me, or just say, hey, I like what's going on right now, or if it's just simply an idea, please let me know. Again, I want to be as open as I possibly can be. And so I plan to be out there as often as I possibly can. So please stop me, say hello. Other than that, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please reach out. As soon as all of my technical stuff is set up, you'll be able to reach me via phone or email, as I stated. Other than that, thank you very much for having me. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you out there, and enjoy the rest of your day.